Today on Two Expats Wtf, Bogdan mispronounces Italian several times. Language creeps up on me. Bogdan doesn't understand shit. I recommend a good book. Bogdan tried to get there, but he didn't get there. I am an undercover multilingualist. All this and more today on Two Expats Wtf. Stick around. Two Expats Wtf, your spiritual guide through expatia. Disclaimer: in traces it may contain serious conversation.
Hello, Zoli.
Hello, Bogdan. So we started with your beer.
Of course we did. I don't know if people will hear it, but my beer is awesome. Of course, it's a German beer, because why not? Germany has good beer, so thank you, Germany.
Naturally, the best beers are from Germany. And from Czechoslovakia. They do good beers as well.
And from Belgium, and from Holland, and some from Denmark. There's a lot of good beers, man. There's a lot of good beers.
We need some cold beers today, because at the time of recording, at my place it's 31 degrees Celsius, and you have about 30?
Yeah, about 30 in Sweden. Just get that, Nordic countries, Scandinavia, Vikings, cold.
So we're fucking frying here.
Tomorrow is gonna be 32 degrees, man. I cannot wait for tomorrow. Not really. I've moved here for a reason.
I tried to escape the heat, and I went to a dam where you can swim around in the lake, and I've got a pretty healthy sunburn and a bit of insulation. So if I talk shit, you know that the cause.
No, it's the beer. It's definitely the beer.
Yeah,
it's not. Stop making up excuses for your drinking, man. Yeah. How are you today? Besides the sunburn, besides the fact that it's really hot, you feeling good? You ready for today's subject?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm feeling relaxed, and I'm pretty excited about today's subject. I am curious where will it take us.
And today's subject is
multilingualism, or for you Americans, it's bilingualism, because that's how far you can count.
Oh, come on! Stop being so mean. People don't need much more than English, do they?
Yeah, if you're an asshole, then you can get by with English only, and if someone doesn't understand you, you can just say the same thing but louder.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, today is gonna be interesting. I would have loved to give the name of the episode like something with polyglot. A polyglot is a man, woman, whatever that
many languages.
Speaks many languages. And I do think I would count you as one. Although maybe some of the people will say, "Oh, come on, he's not a polyglot. Doesn't even know 10 languages." Yeah. But Zoli does know a couple of languages, and by a couple I mean 4. You speak fluently Hungarian, Romanian, English, and German nowadays.
Yeah, and I understand Spanish and a little bit of French. Although I've learned French for 2 years, but I'm not really proud of my knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's just a byproduct of being Romanian. The Romanian language is a Latin language, one of the Romance languages, as they call it. And it's quite easy for Romanians to understand. Mainly Italian, I think, is the easiest to understand. And
Italian,
then
Spanish, and French, they're sort of in the same language family. And Romanians are extremely francophone, so almost everyone learns French in school, and that's what happened to me. And from 1st grade to 3rd grade, I've learned French. I don't remember shit, except Jojo le hippopotame and le frastre. That's it.
Oh my god.
And
You know what I
baguette
know
and
about
omelette du fromage, but that's from Dexter.
what I know about French is notre poule dans votre cœur. Or what I know about German is Mercedes is beaten Zed. So that's me with my German and French. Although I do know French, but I'm just fucking around. So yeah.
And do you speak Romanian, Swedish, and English fluently? What other languages do you
yes.
understand or...
I do speak quite okay, or speak, maybe not speak anymore. I haven't tried it since a long time now, but I do speak English, not English, sorry. Oh my god, the beer is taking a toll on me. Wait, I have to take one more sip. Wait, I'm sorry. Ah, shit. Oh, yes, back to the subject.
English?
Yeah, English, also Romanian, English, Swedish. It's kind of the order I can speak. And then I can actually speak a bit of Italian, and I do understand quite a lot because I've learned Italian in school, 4 years in my high school. And I can actually understand quite a lot of Italian and can write quite okay. I do understand the grammar and so on.
That's great.
I did a lot of French as you did in school as a second language besides English. It's a second foreign language besides English. And it's kind of hard to understand French. I think it's so hard.
I've never liked it. It's so... it was too foreign for me. Although what I failed to mention that in 4 months, while I was living in Sweden, I've learned Swedish on a level that I could go on a job interview and do it all in Swedish. That was one of my greatest life accomplishments. Achievements, and I am pretty sad that I've forgotten most everything in Swedish, but my goal is, once I get my German up to my English level, for instance, I'll start learning Swedish again, just for fun.
I would just say this about the Swedish language. Most definitely, if you can speak fluent German and fluent English, you already know at least like 20 or 30% of the Swedish language. It's so easy. And
the more languages you know, the easier you can learn new languages, because they are not so apart. They're pretty similar between themselves, especially in the same family. If for instance you know Italian, it's a fluke to learn Spanish because it's sort of the same shit.
Yeah, but I was thinking
minus the hand movement, you know, Spanish.
Minus the Italian. Come si dice, ragazzi. Yeah, but I was thinking about the fact that if you want to tie this common thing that is language for most of the expats that I know, and I do believe that most of expats in general do get to learn the language of the country they live in. I believe it's kind of a struggle at first to find out how the fuck do I understand this shit. Like when I was first in Sweden, I was like, oh my god, I will never be able to speak Swedish, and now I speak fluent Swedish and academic level, and it's quite okay. I don't have any problems. Right now, I can actually speak even about chemistry and physics, which, you know, I couldn't do that normally just a couple of months ago.
And the fun part is that for some of us, it just creeps up on you. You do not realize the border, you know, between I do not understand anything to I can speak fluent. It's just a surprise.
It just happens somehow. I know. It's quite weird and interesting. But what I noticed with most of my friends that are expats is that there is some kind of like a period in the beginning when you are kind of almost panicked about not being able to speak this language. Oh my god, this is so hard. I can't understand shit. What the fuck is this shit? Because you can't really relate to the fact that even though you know a second language like English or French or whatever you've learned in school, you can't really relate to the fact that you've been learning that second language for 8 or 10 years now. So that's why you can speak that language at the level you can right now. So you have to understand that it takes time. And being new in a country, you can't wait to be able to speak with a native in their own language. I think it's a wow moment, a victory moment, a success moment. Talking about
that's one of the biggest accomplishments you can have as an expat, to speak with someone on their own language.
Yeah.
And it's a huge misconception, I believe, that if you do not learn a language while you're a kid, it will be extremely hard for you to learn it as an adult. And okay, open it.
Wow. Thank you. No, I don't know. I don't really hear it that much because it's actually. Can I make just a small promotion? No, okay, I won't. It's a German beer. Okay, it's a German beer, which actually isn't German because it's made in Holland. But anyway, it has a really German name. But it's one of those 250 milliliters, 25 centiliters bottles. Really, really small. You can drink like 5 of these without even noticing. Oh my god. Never mind. I'm deviating from the subject, man. I'm sorry. I was interrupting. Can you get back to what you were saying, or?
Whoa, let me just think where I was.
Exactly.
I was talking about how some people think that as an adult it's more difficult to learn a language. But from my experience and what Timothy Ferriss wrote in his book, The 4-Hour Work Week, which I can recommend to anyone, it's a great book. He said that if you are committed and you give yourself 6 months, you can learn any language on a conversational basis. Because you just need to apply Pareto's law, which states that 20% of the work has 80% of the outcome. And you just have to find that 20%. You just have to find that 20% of work in learning a language that gives you 80% of the knowledge.
Yeah, I actually read about Pareto's law in a really interesting book. And I think it does apply even in languages. Because if you think about it, 20% effort you're gonna put into learning the language of your new country, it's gonna give you 80% of the language. It's gonna give you like the common everyday hi, what's up, grocery store language.
What I've found out and what I've been using for ages, because people think that I'm a language genius because I learn new languages just like that. Bullshit. I learn a couple of sentences and I struggle on the correct pronunciation. And I use those again and again and again and again, and people think that I'm fluent in it. I just use the same words in a different configuration depending on the situation. So it's a bit of cheating, I believe, but still, I can get by.
Yeah, I feel that. I actually feel that the more foreign languages you know, the easier it is to learn a new one. Because, for example, when we moved to Sweden, my wife got a 6 months course to learn Swedish, and she was like 8 hours a day from Monday to Friday, learning Swedish, really intensive, and she did well, of course. But when I got to Sweden, I didn't get that course because I chose to finish my studies and so on. And when I got to Sweden, I felt like almost that I can never catch up to my wife. But unfortunately for her,
you did.
Right now, I did. I think I surpassed her. But I think it's just a result of actually having learned more languages than she did. Because in high school, I was at this specific languages profile where you did learn a couple of languages. For example, in my profile, you'd of course learn Romanian language quite intensively, like I think it was 6 hours a week, which is crazy. And then you had like 4 hours a week English, and then you had 2 hours French, 2 hours Italian, and 2 hours Latin, which is quite cool to think about it. Although nobody uses Latin, but I do find that it helped me because I'm an engineer, and I think about it in chemistry and physics and so on. There's a lot of Latin words, and most of the Latin words in these fields, most of the fields use the same words, which are from Latin, and then you have such an easy time just understanding the origins of the word, just understanding that you can definitely apply some of the knowledge you have from Latin, which is cool. It's quite cool. Unfortunately, not most of us won't, or most of the people won't really benefit from learning Latin. So I don't really recommend it unless you actually like it.
I've learned Latin as well, but I've never used it.
I believe not 4 years in a row, 2 hours a week.
Yeah, for 8 years in a row and about 1 hour a week. So it wasn't 2 hours a week.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you know Rex? Oh my god.
But I've never used it. I can't recall a situation where I said, "Oh gosh, how good that I've learned 8 years of fucking Latin." It was.
Yeah, I understand that. But I did.
Except in vino veritas. That's the only thing applicable
in vino
to this.
veritas, exactly. Yeah, but no, I do believe there's a couple of people, depending on their education, that might benefit from Latin. But that's another story.
Of course. Hey, but let's talk about the negative parts of knowing so many languages, because until now we've talked about the positive.
Do you think there's a negative part of knowing a lot of languages?
I do believe there is a bit. For instance, the more languages you know, the worse your mother tongue becomes. And
you mean you're okay? I understand.
And I've seen this on myself, that the more I better myself in another language, the worse I speak in my mother tongue.
I tend to disagree just a bit. I do understand exactly what you're going through. I have gone through a similar thing. I think it kind of makes sense, because even language, as riding a bicycle, is kind of a, I think in Swedish it's called råvara, which means a fresh product. Well, that means that the more you actually practice it, the less hard it gets. The easier it gets to use it, And even though your mother language is something that you always are going to know somehow, you're gonna dream in your mother language, or your native language. You're gonna dream in that language, and you're gonna make mathematical calculations in that language and stuff like that. Starting to learn new languages takes a lot of mental space, takes a lot of your brain's computing power, and because you're not using every day for a long period of time, because you're not using your native language and your mother language, right? And you kind of feel like you're losing some words or some kind of But then again,
I believe you lose the finesse of using your mother tongue.
I believe that once you get back to it, once you get back to talking to one of your compatriots, or what are they called? One of those people that they have the same native language as you have. Once you get back to that, it comes back quite fast. Everything comes back really fast. Because I do believe it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You haven't rode a bicycle since a long time now, right, Solly? But if you do put your ass on that saddle, you are going to...
It'll hurt a lot.
It will definitely hurt in the beginning. But then again, you're going to be able to ride the bicycle quite okay in the beginning, and then you're going to be just better and comfortable with it again.
That's not the perspective I was trying to portray. It was more along the lines that the more languages you know, the more phrases, the more expressions you learn. And if you want to transmit something, there are cases when, for instance, I want to say something in Hungarian or English. And I know that for instance, in English, the word doesn't exist for that specific thing I'm trying to express. And I just block. I do not try to explain it. The first thing that pops into my head is the word in another language that exists.
Yeah.
For instance, in German there is a term called Schadenfreude.
Okay, what is that?
That means let me just
Exactly.
think
You know, that's exactly
that's the
what I
problem.
mean.
That means the joy of someone's sorrow or someone's misfortune. You know, that I take joy in someone's misfortune, and this took me a whole fucking year to explain it. And in German, I just said Schadenfreude, and everyone understood me. You know?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to get there somehow, but I didn't get there. So what I believe is, being a person that talks a lot of languages or more than 2 or 3 languages, your perspective on things kind of gets wider. And when you're trying to describe a specific action or a specific thing, you know, it kind of gets mixed up in your brain, and the best description of that situation or predicament or whatever that is, you know, is a thing, the best description of that comes in a different language than the one you are talking at that moment. And that's so cool. I do believe that is wonderful, because you get somehow a much deeper understanding of the situation, because there's a word for it that explains it much better in a different language. That's cool, but unfortunately that's kind of frustrating, because when you're talking to somebody else, maybe they don't even know what language you're speaking, and you cannot use the word, right?
And you seem like a posh asshole, you know, because, and it's not the case. You're just trying to
explain something.
Yeah. What I
Yeah.
was thinking about, that language nerd just comes out of me, and it's how interesting it is that different languages have more synonyms for certain type of behavior or certain type of action.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending on their past or their value system or their interests. That's another. If you take a look at a nation only through the prism of their language, you can deduct a whole lot of shit, you know, just by examining how many words do they have for a certain action. You know that this certain action is extremely important for them, or they needed more words for them.
I get you. But if you think about it, it's quite cool. Once you know a couple of languages, in your head at least, you kind of get a wider perspective of what things mean. For example, in Swedish there's a word called mysigt, which, if you were to translate it, it's in English, for example, it's cozy. But the problem with cozy, with the translation itself, is that it doesn't actually transmit the whole message, because mysigt is actually so complex. It's such a complex thing somehow to transmit in words in other languages, that it just is kind of a weird thing.
Eternity.
Yeah, because, for example, mysigt, it's quite a simple thing. It's when you just sit and, you know, enjoy the moment, have a like cozy time with your family and friends or yourself, and you just
take a moment to enjoy,
feel good. But it's so complex somehow. At the same time, it's so simple. But you can't really, you don't really have the same translation in most other languages.
In Swedish, the same thing. For instance, lagom doesn't really exist in other languages.
Yeah, exactly.
They do have a word for it, but it's not the same. For instance, that's good enough. In English, it has a bit of negative connotation, but lagom is positive in Swedish.
Exactly. See, you still can.
Some
Swedish.
Stuff are coming back to me.
Some stuff. Yeah, but then again, and you think about Romanian, there are some words in Romanian, of course, like dor. That's. That is it's gonna be so weird to translate.
When you're missing something.
When you're missing something, or just like. but it's not the whole essence of the word, because the essence of the word is kind of deeper than that somehow, and it involves much more than just missing someone. And it's cool. I like the fact that being an expat, you get to explore different languages, and you get to feel different kind of like states. Once you explore, like there's a Danish, what's it called? A Danish very popular thing, hygge. There's something called hygge, which is quite similar to mysigt in Swedish, but it's not the same thing. If you're gonna tell this Danish person that your hygge is mysigt in the Swedish people, no, it's not. It's quite interesting and weird. So I don't know. It's cool with languages. At the same time, it's hard.
Yeah, what I like about speaking more languages and getting on a level with a certain language that you can just immerse yourself in the culture, and you can immerse yourself in new feelings and new ways of life. It's you sort of grow emotionally and as a person. I'm really thankful that I've gotten to know so many languages, and so many languages were forced upon me.
Isn't it cool that, like, you think about it, just because you know so many languages right now, you're able to understand different kind of concepts better at a different kind of like level than before. It's quite cool. I like it. I think it's one of the benefits of being an expat. You know, if you think about it, I have friends that live in China, which is interesting because China in itself has a different, like, I think they have lots of different languages. You know what I mean? In the same country, which is quite cool because they're quite big, and you know they have the Cantonese, and I don't know, I'm not good with Chinese, but I'm just saying it's not just fucking Chinese. There's a lot of languages just in there, and I was just trying to say that this guy that lives there in China, and he said, like, it's quite interesting because it's the same thing that we're talking right now. He kind of gets things, actions, feelings in a different way. He kind of understands that some words can't really be translated, and it's quite cool. I was thinking about one thing. You named the fact that you sometimes, because of the fact that you're not really practicing your native language, you can't sometimes you can't remember exactly the words. But I do feel you, because when I was in Romania the last time, I kind of remember having a bit of a problem. Just sometimes a bit of a problem explaining stuff. It was such a fucking backlash from my friends. Oh my god, you can't really fucking talk in Romanian anymore, huh? You're that special now, right? And I was like, no man, I'm really sorry. This is frustrating for me. I kind of fucking forgot, but I didn't forget. It's still there.
There are two
but
types
I'm not
of people,
getting it directly.
One is your type that has been abroad for a long time, and they forgot some phrases or some turns of phrases, but you try and you feel ashamed for it. And there's another type who go out and work for the summer somewhere else, and they forget their mother tongue because they've been abroad for 3 months.
Because I do understand that.
That is why the people who remained home look at us as assholes, like, what the fuck are you doing? How could you forget your mother tongue? It's fucking possible, you know. It's after a while it just becomes a bit foreign, especially in some cases or in some situations that do not appear in your home country, you know, and you've learned or you've been confronted with these situations only in the language of your adoptive country, and you've only used these sentences or words in the new language, and it is pretty difficult to translate it into your mother tongue.
Exactly. And right now I have a difficult language problem, Zoltan. You know what that is?
You're out of beer.
I'm out of beer. I have to go grab some beer. So I'm definitely sorry for everybody else. I have to go get some beer. So I'll be back. Sorry. Can we have like a
we'll just have a short
thing
where
you put something like, oh, Bogdan is back, or Bogdan is coming back, or never mind. I'm just gonna go get some beer. I'll be back.
Oh, okay.
One eternity later.
I'm back. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Bogdan. How you've been?
I've been sweating down the stairs getting my beer.
Yeah, I can feel you. Do you have any freaking idea where we left off?
Exactly. My idea where we left off is blank. So, getting back to the subject. Yeah, I think there's
multilingualism.
Multilingualism. One cool thing is that sometimes it happens that you have like really funny stories just because you can can speak a different languages, just because you can like 4 or 5 languages. Or
if you're an undercover multilinguist.
Yeah, exactly. Like you are, Zoli. You have cool stories.
I just fucked it up because now people know, although I haven't shown all my cards.
Yeah, just a bit, just a few of them.
Just a bit. I will scratch the surface because I'm a fucking genius. Yeah, no, sorry, never mind. The idea is that we have a friend who moved to Mexico, found a husband there who's Panamanian, Guatemalan, or I've just shown my ignorance. Sorry.
Panamanian? Is it like Panama? Is it from Panama, right?
I don't know if he's from Honduras or from Panama. Okay. Because I don't know, because I'm an ignorant asshole. Sorry.
You're
sorry
not
for
an ignorant asshole. You just don't know, man. So it's good.
So
it's good. I don't know either.
The idea was that they got married, and I don't know why. They had the wedding in Germany. So we attended because we are good friends. And we were at the dinner table, and we've met a couple of times earlier. And the friend's husband just leaned over to her and in Spanish said that, wow, Zoli's gotten fat. It was so subtle that he was smiling at me in the meantime because he was sure that I would not understand. Yeah. And I don't.
You being a multilingual, you being a Romanian,
I just understood
Hungarian. Yeah, you understood it. Yeah,
I just understood it, and I have no idea what my reaction was, but I know that he just froze on the fact that I understood him. He was like, oh, fuck, sorry. He was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I do understand that. That's cool, actually, because I've had it happen somehow, not in the same way, but here in Sweden, because the Swedish people, they have to have their summer vacations in Spain, in Mallorca, in Sevilla, they have to have their Spanish vacation. I'm sorry. COVID is taking over. No, but I kind of had like one of these moments where we were at a friend's house, and they were explaining something from their Spanish vacation, and they were talking in Swedish, of course, but then they put some Spanish words in, and they thought that I didn't
just
understand.
Some posh.
Yeah, just not really just some posh, but they were actually explaining what they were saying in Spanish, and they thought I wouldn't understand, and they started translating. And meanwhile, at the same time they were translating, I was saying the same things they were saying in unison, and they were like, oh my god, how do you know that? How do you understand that? Do you know Spanish? I was like, no, I don't really know Spanish, but I kind of understand Spanish, so it's good, I'm fine. So there's positives. There's a lot of positives with being a multi-linguist or a polyglot, or what is it called,
I just share one other funny story. My girlfriend Imola isn't as versed in languages as I am. Although she speaks 4 languages, she lacks the courage to just speak it, and that sort of inhibits her growing or evolving, because I do believe that she could speak fluently all four if she wanted to.
Yeah.
I think she just lacks the courage. Maybe she had a shitty teacher when growing up, and that fucked her up.
think
I don't know.
If we're gonna go into that subject, unfortunately, I think this is a consequence of Romanian education and Romanian society and culture. If you don't know everything perfection, you have to be perfect. You have to be like, oh shit, that's perfect. No, nothing to comment. Then it's regarded as being shit. And that's really unfortunate because, for example, when it comes to education here, they try to make it in such a way that there is something called good enough somehow. That is approved. That is good enough. That is exactly what you need. And that
you
kind
manage
of
with that level. Yeah.
Exactly. And I wouldn't really say that the translation is 100% because it's godkänt. It's, if you would translate it in English, is known as good. And that actually is like a scale, from minimum that you need to know to very, very good in general. Mm-hmm. But you are in those boundaries. You are in those, in something that is called, something that is recognized as good enough. And nobody actually thinks about it. They just think about it as good enough. Because when they take a test, they're like, oh shit, am I gonna be good enough? And then they don't really make it such a big deal out of the fact that some of the people might be just on the limit of good enough, and some of the people would be high up, at like really fucking good, great, perfect. But they don't really make a difference, and that really helps you to
achieve a bit of self-esteem.
Not lose self-esteem at least. Not lose self-esteem at least.
I do believe the only way to learn a language is by using it, and that's the problem Imola had, that she didn't really have the courage to use it. And we were walking our dog, and he is, as I mentioned earlier, a three-legged dog.
Beast.
So everyone wants to pet him, everyone wants to play with him.
Yeah.
And we just met a really nice old guy who we've seen in passing a couple of times. He lived in the neighborhood, and we just started talking to him. And while petting our dog, he said that he loves that dogs are more social than humans. And the fact that he is petting him, a total stranger is petting the dog is perfectly content with that, and he even likes it. And for instance, if he would just pet Imola, and he looked at Imola saying this in German, if I would pet you, you wouldn't really like it. Or would you? And Imola just answered yes.
No. Oh, yes.
And because she didn't really understand what the guy was asking. Yeah. And the guy was like, okay, he asked again because he knew that Imola didn't understand him. And he asked the same question again. Would you like if I would pet you?
Yeah.
And Imola looked at me for help, and me being the asshole I am,
said yes.
No, I had no reaction. I was just looking at Imola and then nodding,
shrugging your shoulders. I don't know.
Just carry on. You're doing well,
You're doing
it's
good.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bitch move.
I am an asshole.
Man.
Yeah, I know. And the old guy just froze and was like, okay, and never even said hello after that.
Oh, poor guy. But never mind. No, I do think that there are a lot of people that have a lot of good talents that unfortunately are put to waste just because of the fact that culture or society has made them fear the fact that they may be judged. But let's put this aside. I hope someday people will just understand that it's fine. It's fine just to be good enough. It's quite okay. Yeah. Getting back to our languages thing, I'm just gonna say one more thing about languages. I am truly in love with the fact that being a person that knows 4 languages kind of makes me better as a person. Not better than you or the other guy or so on. Not better than everyone else.
I think your perspective is a bit wider.
No, I just feel that I kind of am better myself as a person, and that's such a wonderful feeling when you have that like warm fuzzy feeling inside that, oh my god, I've just been like, I feel better about myself. Just being able to talk more languages just gives you one nice feeling. So if there are people out there that are speaking a lot of languages, come on guys, just feel better. Or girls, just feel that you are better.
And if we were to end this episode in some meaningful or
positive way,
I would recommend everyone just don't give a fuck. Just use the small language knowledge you have and use it. Say the things you want to say, because that's how you evolve. Do not be afraid to use it. Do not be afraid to be grammatically incorrect or do some mistakes.
It doesn't matter.
Fuck it. Use it, because that's how you evolve.
Yeah, that's how you get better, and that's cool. Yeah. That's okay. I probably use Swedish in the wrong way a lot of times every day, but
the best
whatever.
quote I could end this podcast on is some shit I saw on Facebook. It said, if someone speaks broken English, it means that they know another language as well.
Yeah, perfectly. Exactly.
So just keep that in mind, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I would like to thank you for today, man. It's been an interesting journey in trying to understand what it is that makes expats special somehow, because of course, being an expat and the fact that along with that you kind of are obligated to know a couple of new languages. Maybe it depends. Some expats or have lived in many countries. Some expats have lived just in one or two. But just the fact that you've learned a new language, you get to be better as a person, have a different perspective, wider perspective, and learn to appreciate things even more than you did before.
And I would recommend this to everyone. If you have a bit of time, or you have a lack of hobbies, or you're searching for the next occupation, learn a language. That's what I do.
Or drink beer. That's exactly what Zoli does. Just don't
while
listen
you're
to him.
learning a new language.
While he's learning a new language. Hello, Pilsner Urkel. Oh, this is from Czechoslovakia.
Quoting the Bible, start speaking in tongues.
Exactly. Like we are starting to do now.
Yeah, so I think it's time to end before we get even more drunk.
Thank you for today, Zoli. It's been an interesting hour or so.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. For those of you who bared with us till the end, and see you next week.
See you next time. Bye, Zoli.
Bye.